Let's talk about my hands down favorite lead source, open houses. What other method allows you to become face to face with potential customers that are literally out there shopping for an agent? You have the buyers that are shopping for properties, and you have those looky-loo neighbors that are shopping for their next listing agent. So it's important that you pick a hot, fresh home. If you pick a reject listing that's been on the market for weeks, that's begging for an agent to host the house open, you're going to have a terrible time. But if you're the first agent to host the home open, and I'll show you how to do that, you're going to have a lot of customers come in the door. All you need to do at that point is collect their information and reach out to them, follow up with them, and give them what they want. So how do you collect their information? Well, there's two main ways. Number one is the old school pen and paper, which I actually like. And I'm going to share a file down below of the sign-in sheet that I personally use. And you can use it or you can edit it how you like and use it as well. Now I use a line item sign-in, so you put name, email, phone number, are you looking to buy, are you looking to sell, so on and so forth, and you fill it out line by line. Now before the open house starts, I actually fill out the first 3 or 4 lines with bogus information. And why do I do that? Because someone that comes below it and goes to fill it out, they're just going to copy. You know, essentially people are sheeple. They're going to copy what the person above them did. So on that note, after someone fills that information out, if they skip a section, like if they skipped phone number, if they skipped email, you need to go behind them and put in a phone number or an email. Not necessarily theirs, but just something to fill the space so the next person doesn't skip it also. Because I tell you what, if you let one person skip their phone number, everyone after them is going to skip their phone number as well. Now the other option is actually to use an iPad, and there's a couple apps out there. KVcore, which is our CRM at eXp, and a lot of other brokerages include KVcore for free, and there is a KVcore open house app that will automatically populate those people into your CRM. So if you're in an area that's a little more tech savvy, you might consider an iPad. Now if you're not with KVcore, you can use an app called Open Home Pro. It does pretty much the same thing. It allows someone to fill out their information on an iPad. I personally still prefer the pen and paper, but I know a lot of people do like the technology and like to use the iPad. So without further ado, let's look at how to actually get a super hot listing as your open house. Okay guys, so here we are in the MLS. Now what I'm about to do might look very familiar to anyone that watched my prior video on how to set up a client on an auto search, because what we're about to do is set yourself up on an auto search to receive the brand new listings from your brokerage right when they go live. So what we're going to need to do first is get your brokerage information. Let's go to My Matrix, My Listings, and go to My Office Active Listings. At this point, we're just going to click any of them. And we're going to scroll down to the bottom here. We're going to grab where it says LO and grab this little code here. Okay, and we're going to copy that. I'm going to hit Control-C to copy that. Now again, if you're not using the Matrix MLS, if your MLS is a little bit different, you may have to do a little playing around to figure out how you would do the exact same thing, but I guarantee you can do the exact same thing on every MLS. Now we're going to go to Search, Residential, Detailed, okay? And we're going to do Actives and Coming Soons, just like if you're working with a client. Now we're going to scroll down here, and you notice I've added all these extra fields. Yours is going to be blank right here, so we're going to click on Add Remove, and we're going to look for LO. It's LO, List Office, or List, let's see here. List Office MLS ID is what it is. Mine's already been added, so that's what you're looking for. It's List Office MLS ID. Okay, you're going to grab it, and you're going to hit Add. Mine's going to say you can't add it because it's already added, but go ahead and add that, the List Office MLS ID, okay? So look for that down here. Here it is, List Office MLS ID, and you're going to paste that right there. Now, if you're part of an extremely large brokerage like eXp, you'll notice that it has XPTY01. There's actually multiple numbers for our brokerage, and so in the case of eXp, you actually need to add multiple things. So it's there's this one, XPT01, and then we're going to comma, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to put a 2, comma, 3, comma, 4. In my case, it's all the way up to 8. Now, how you would know this, that unfortunately is very hard for me to explain. I kind of just figured this out just by playing around, that some agents were under a slightly different List Office MLS ID. I'm not 100% sure why. I'm thinking that maybe these are offices in different cities that for whatever reason are still advertising on our MLS. Like maybe the agent is part of the Austin board, but also has access to our MLS, so that the agent might be in Austin, but they have a listing in DFW for whatever reason. So I typed in our office MLS IDs. I see we have 144 listings that are active. So I'm going to click on results, just like I would if I was setting up a buyer search. I'm going to hit save, new auto email, except this time I'm going to add myself as a contact. I'm already a contact, so I'm just going to click more and find myself here as a contact. There I am. And so I'm just going to set this up as open house options. That's it. You're just going to set yourself up to receive the listings. You're going to hit ASAP and set yourself up just like you would a client. And hit save. I'm not going to hit save because I don't want to start emailing myself. What this is going to do is literally email you. First, you're going to get an email of all the active listings, and you have to activate your portal. At that point, you're going to start getting emails every time your brokerage lists a new property. And so what are you going to do when that happens? I'll show you. Well, let's say this listing. Let's pretend you got an email that said this listing was just listed. So you're going to go here. You're going to find this agent, the listing agent, and you're going to call them and say, hey, John, this is Josh Marriott with eXp. I'm in your brokerage, and I was just wondering if you had anyone hosting open house for you this coming weekend. And they'll usually say no. Every once in a while, they'll say, yes, I'm doing it, or yes, someone has already requested that. But because you've notified yourself of when this listing hit the market, and you should be notifying yourself ASAP, you should be the first agent to reach out. And if you're the first agent to reach out, you're probably going to get the open house. Now, the next thing you want to do, now this is really important, is make sure that they put it in MLS. And what I mean by that is, look, if you look at this listing, there's nothing really different right here. But let's look at this listing right here. You'll see it has a next open house, okay? So after you get permission to host the open house, now my favorite time is just like this one, Saturday 12 to 2. That's my favorite time. So request it Saturday 12 to 2 if you can. You can do multiple open houses a weekend. You can do one on Saturday, you can do one on Sunday, you can do two on Saturday, you can do two on Sunday. If you're going to do two in a day, like two on Saturday, I recommend 11 to 1 and 2 to 4. So 2-hour blocks with a little 1-hour block in between to give you some time to move between houses. But if you're just doing one, 12 to 2 is an excellent time. So after you've requested it and after they said, oh yeah, sure, you can host an open house, give them a day or two, come back to the listing and see if they added it in the MLS. Because if they didn't, you're not going to get that exposure. It needs to be in the MLS. If they didn't, just reach out to them again and say, hey, would you be so kind as to add the open house to the MLS? They say, yes, sure, no problem. Give it another 24 hours, check the MLS, see if they put it in there. If they didn't put it in there, you'll have to reach out to them again. Every once in a while, they don't put it in there. And quite frankly, if they don't put it in the MLS, it's pointless for you to go waste your time at this open house. You won't get anywhere near the number of people because it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go online. Other than that, those signs that you purchased that hopefully are on their way, if not they're already at your house, where you're going to place them. So let's look at a map. So let's pretend that where this green marker is where you're having your open house this weekend. So before the open house, you need to place out your signs. You can place them out in the early morning hours before your open house and actually put the time of your open house on the sign. There's a couple ways to do that. My personal favorite is to use white duct tape and then mark over that with a black Sharpie. That way you can remove the duct tape and change it out. You can try dry erase as long as the weather's good and it's not going to get erased. That way you can erase it and keep the tape, or pick any tape that's the color of your sign. You can also, literally get a piece of paper and tape it to the bottom of your sign with your times. 12 to 2. That's all you got to put. Saturday, 12 to 2, on all those signs. That way, if you put them out in the early morning, you're already getting exposure for your open house through those signs. So here, let's look at this property. So we're looking to end up here. So we need signs to get here. So traffic is going to come from over here. So we're definitely going to need a sign right here. If not, maybe a couple. One in this little median right here, and maybe one right here. And then we're going to need some signs at this intersection. I would say bare minimum 4 signs, depending on how many you bought. 6 would be preferable. So you want one in the median right here pointing this way, one in the median right here pointing this way. You want one up here pointing this way to give people a little bit of heads up, and then even one further up to give people even more heads up, turn this way. Same way on this side, you want one pointing this way, one over here pointing that way, and then start going out to the next intersection. That's not a true intersection. You might throw, maybe one or two here. Now this is a bigger intersection, so you're going to need quite a few signs here. One turn right here. Another one with a little heads up to turn right. One in the median to turn this way. Maybe one on the right side to turn that way to give people heads up to change lanes. So that's a good start on this side, and then maybe go the other direction and look to see when you need some turns. You need one here, and then they're going to come down this way. You need another one right here. And then here's another larger intersection where you might throw 4 or 6, put one on the median, one with a little heads up, one with the heads up. So you get the idea and how easily you can eat up those signs that you have. I mean, that I just did there was about 14 or 15 signs, and we haven't even hit a major intersection. Here's another major intersection you probably want to plaster with signs. This one looks pretty good too. So you got to be a little bit creative with where you put them. As far as getting some good traffic. So that should be kind of your basics on sign placement. So with that, hopefully you're able to get some good leads from these open houses, and check out my next video.